Good morning. It's another beautiful new week. Good morning, Benin City. Good morning, Edo State. Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to your favorite morning show. Yes, Dawn on VOS TV, the show where we serve you hot breakfast in form of trending information. I am Felicia Udeji. And I want to say, a big happy Eid Fitr to all our Muslim faithfuls. Yes, the end of the Ramadan fast that happened on Friday. Happy Eid Fitr celebrations to you all. How are you doing this morning? It's good to be here this morning. Jude, how are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning to you, Felicia Udeji. Let me lend my voice to Baka the Salah, our dear Muslims, brothers and sisters. Yes, you know, it's a very important season, and we thank Almighty Allah for giving us the grace, you know, to finish the months longer period of fast. So may He bless us, may He continue to give us the strength and the needed wisdom to scale through life.
Amen.
Inshallah. Ameen.
Okay, I am doing great. Thank you for the prayers.
Yes, it's very important. And let's not forget, we are also in the Christian Lenten season.
Yeah,
so biblically, this is the period Christ offered himself as sacrificial lamb for mankind, according to the Christian faith, all right? So Christians are also enjoined to ensure that they reflect on the essence of this season, which is forgiveness, love, almsgiving, and living a life that reflects Christ.
Yeah,
yes, it's very important.
True, very true.
Yeah,
very true. All right, yes, it is the morning show, and this morning we'll be bringing to you a story we are currently tracking. Yes, this morning a lot is going on along the Sakbomba road axis. The first is Sakbomba road axis of Benin City. Yes, there is a current, will I call it a protest? A form of protest, actually. Drivers are out on the street and they're protesting over the increase in the cost of fuel, with many saying that they are going to increase their transport fares. Yes, currently the issue is that for along, it will no longer be 200, it will now be 300 naira. So they're also proposing on increasing transportation from here to Oluku. From here to Oluku, that used to be maybe 500-600, will now be 800 naira, while from here to Ugbo main gate will now be 700 naira as opposed to 500 naira that it used to be. The real commotion that happened this morning was not even about the increase. It's the fact that there were men on the streets trying to stop other bus drivers from carrying passengers along the road. So what they're saying is that, okay, all buses should go to the park so that we can all have one prices, because according to them, they are long drivers, they are spoiling their market. Let's take a look at the video. We did a video of it and interviewed a few persons, a person who had his opinion to share about the issue. So drivers want protest.
Drivers want protest, yes, for the fuel. The fuel is here, all within the country.
Okay, we hear say they know they allow them carry passengers for a long again.
You know they allow them, you know they do it because the fuel not too here. Nanika will say we'll call the protest today. Nanika will come outside today with our store. We'll call the protest for the fuel.
So that's the current situation going on right now along Sakbomba Road. The road currently is not free, it's a bit blocked. So if you're coming to this axis, you might want to maneuver. But let's talk about this, Jude. This intention of the drivers to increase transport fare amid the high cost of fuel and the fact that they are stopping passengers from entering the bus along the road, because they were literally pulling passengers down, like, you cannot enter, go to the park, go back to the park.
For me, I think it's not just the hike in cost of fare. Yeah, because one of the drivers, as I was coming to work this morning, was complaining that that they are enforcing colored code. You know, the Edo State government color code recently initiated color
no,
code.
it's not recently initiated. Sorry to pause you. Color code has been
it has been long, but the enforcement is ongoing at the moment. So I think it's contributed to the hike. It's contributing to the hike. So, well, I really don't see any need for drivers stopping passengers from boarding. It's not necessary. You shouldn't stop passengers from boarding vehicle. How do you expect them to get to their destinations? It's quite unfortunate that situations are degenerating to this extent. Lawlessness. That's the height of lawlessness. Why do you stop me from boarding a vehicle? Huh? You are infringing on my rights.
Well, what they are saying is actually that, not that you should not board a vehicle as a passenger. As a passenger, you have to go to the park. That's the insistence, saying that those carrying along the road are spoiling their business and they are not carrying at the new price they want to effect. Well, we will definitely keep you updated about the development and how it goes, and if possible, get to speak with the National Union of Road Transport Workers to see how this is going. Exactly. All right, so we'll move over now after this short break to our newspaper review, bringing you, yes, the headlines making waves across major newspapers. Do stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. It is still your favorite morning show done on VOS TV. So we'll be kick-starting with the newspaper review segment. And yes, I want to hang on this story from the Nigerian Tribune that is actually talking about the story we are tracking up for you this morning. Yes, from the Nigerian Tribune, that it says, motorists, passengers lament as pump price hits 1,380 naira per litre. And this price is in some places, not everywhere. There are some, over the radio this morning, I heard that there are some few stations that sell as high as 1,600. And this is because the price of crude oil currently now is at $105 per barrel. And that's at its all-time high. So Jude, with this hike, what are we expecting in the Nigerian economy?
Of course, you should expect exponential rise in cost of not just fuel, commodities, because once there is this kind of price, hike, it affects all sectors, majorly all sectors. So that is what we should expect. We should expect that there will be an exponential rise in cost of food, cost of other commodities, and most importantly, there will be a hike in cost of transportation, which we are already experiencing at the moment.
So what do you think the government can do at this point? Because the drivers are saying they are taking this protest to the government house so that the government can bring down the price. Can the government actually intervene?
Of course, they should wade in. They should be able to wade in. We underscore the fact that several factors account for all of this. They should look into them holistically and see how we can ameliorate the plights of the common man, the drivers there, because once the driver increases it will now snowball to the common man that is
on the streets. Yes, definitely. The market woman will definitely increase our own prices.
Yes, there's actually needs for them to put hands on deck and see the way forward. How do we regulate this? How do we ensure that it is moderate, that is something that can be affordable, something that even the common man will look and still say, okay, this is manageable, even if it's not convenient.
Interesting. Well, I look forward to see how the government intends to do this, knowing that they have deregulated the oil market. But anyway, let's take a look at other headlines making round on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. From the top, this one says, Kwankwaso Makinde Dixon meet in Kano. Bala Mohammed, Makinde meet with Dixon in Bauchi. Another writer there says, Obi meets Kwankwaso in Kano. Disregard misleading narrative on PDP leadership, Wike back group tells members. Insecurity, my foreign trips paying off. France, UK committed to supporting Nigeria. That is coming from our very own president there. Yes, talking about the result of his foreign trips. IGP directs reduction of police tactical teams. Says tactical teams not disbanded. That is coming from the new IGP there from the Nigeria Tribune. There are lots of other headlines making rounds in the Nigeria Tribune, but that is the last we'll take for now. Let's now move over to the Guardian newspaper this morning and see the headline making rounds on the Guardian newspaper. From the screaming headline, it says, eyes on insurance sector as banks survive recapitalization, liquidation. France to back Nigeria with military equipment after Tinubu-Macron talks. $1.5 billion deal. ADC, Oye faults Tinubu's UK visit. Squandered opportunity, they call it. CPPE decries high cost of living business pressures. 10 trillion naira losses to blackout. And another headline on the Guardian newspaper there this morning says, Tinubu Ezekwesili, MBA protests Ozoro sexual assault in Delta State. Let's pick this headline, talking about the alleged sexual festival in Delta State. And this is Remi Tinubu coming out with Ezekwesili and some other persons coming out to protest and saying that the persons involved will be persecuted. Jude, a festival like, because a lot of persons are saying that this has never happened before, but that this is the first of its kind that is happening. What do you think came over such a community if this is the first time?
You see, it's quite unfortunate that at this age we still have young people, young minds who see insanity, who see immorality as a norm. Because tell me how on earth you abuse people sexually, innocent people sexually, all in the name of festival. A festival, if you ask some of these people, some of these corporates that perpetrated that action, what's the essence of the festival? I bet you they cannot tell you. They cannot.
But the
interior motive.
Do you think that these corporates, they can actually be found?
Of course, yes.
How?
Several scores of them have been nabbed by the police, the Delta State Police Command, and the investigations are ongoing. So what I'm saying is that they should be made to face the wrath of the law. They should be made to face the wrath of the law. You cannot do that and go scot-free. That is bestiality. That is insanity. That is abnormality. That's a grave. So they should be made to dance to the music. That's how it should work. And to the community, Aramudu community, it's actually a quarter in Ozoro. You people have failed woefully. You should be able to ensure that you monitor your activities. How can you be celebrating such festival without even letting the custodian of culture in the community is not aware that they celebrated such festival?
I'm very sure
the
that
the king of Ozoro community
is not aware.
Is not aware.
Wow.
Ozoro kingdom, I mean to say.
Interesting.
So it's quite unfortunate and it's insane. It's insane.
Interesting. I am sure that a lot of persons who have heard about this will want to know more detail, and definitely Jude will be bringing you more detail on the discussion segment of the show. So you want to stay tuned to actually know more about what transpired in Ozoro community and every other discussion, every other issues, questions that have arisen concerning this particular festival. Let's now move over to the Vanguard newspaper this morning, and let's see the headlines we have for us on the Vanguard newspaper. From the very top, it says, State Police, Governor split as insecurity worsens nationwide. Most states back move. Others warn of abuse, repression. Not divided, Kaduna, Plateau, Kano, Taraba set pace. Tinubu can't create it by fate. That is coming from the Afeni Ferry Group, saying that the president cannot just create state police by a mere decree. Lawmakers, governors face crucial test. Will address Nigerians' concerns, says Senate. Okay. Still on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, U.S.-Iran encountered threats over Straits of Hormuz. Blackout. NLC wants urgent overhaul of power sector. 6 single energy ministry insist on no bailout for Genco discos as power crisis deepens. Okay, let's take a look at this first headline talking about the state policing. Governors in divide about it. Some are for it, some are against it. Talking about the concerns of repression, the concerns of abuse, while others are supporting it. With this kind of divide, do you think state policing will be possible in Nigeria?
For me, I think that the discussion on the possibility of having state police in Nigeria, it's something that has been on. And if the government is intensifying on efforts to bring it to fruition, let us weigh the advantage and its disadvantages. If we are to achieve this, what are likely to be the advantages and the disadvantages? Let us weigh them. Yes, issues of abuse, likely abuse, which making some of them to say that yes, it's not possible that we have this now. Let us even kill the idea of having this at this point.
Sure.
Then we should also take a look at the rise in the spate of insecurity,
which
in the
is
country,
the major need for
which is
rules for it.
So if we are talking about abuse and we have measures to checkmate abuse, then we are talking about insecurity, which is bedeviling us at this point. And there is need for us to contain insecurity because a lot of people are being sacked from their communities, people are being killed, people are being kidnapped. I must say that the advantages outweighs
the disadvantages. Oh, okay.
So there is need for all stakeholders to see the need to embrace state police. Let's forget about
we look forward to
abuse.
seeing how it will definitely go.
Abuse can be checked.
It can be checked,
yes.
but let's
insecurity at this level is going unchecked. Do you understand?
All right. So now let's check this last headline before we call a wrap for this segment of the show. Talking about the bailout, yes. NLC protesting the 6 trillion naira bailout for Gencos and Discos, saying that the power sector should be merged. What NLC is saying that the power sector should be merged with the petroleum sector, and that federal government should not pay the 6 trillion naira to Gencos, all in the name of the electricity subsidies that they are owing them. This battle has been on, and it's still lingering. NLC is fighting against the settlements. Gencos are insisting that they have to be settled because these are old debts. And Nigerians are crying on epileptic power supply. Jude, I don't even know how to ask this question. What's the way forward for us?
You know, the issue is if we are owing them If the government is owing them, it should be paid. But renewing it is where I have issue. Do you understand? Because it cannot be renewing epileptic power supply. It cannot be renewing total power blackout. For the past 2 weeks now, I haven't seen electricity supply
in your house,
in my area. Do you understand? So, if we are owing them for the sake of peace, fairness, equity, pay them. Don't renew it. That's my stand.
All right, so they said pay but do not renew, because we cannot continue to suffer power blackouts. And the situation is everywhere across the country. It's really terrible. Well, we definitely know that with this, Nigerians are hoping for a better power supply. Nigerians are hoping for a better country, a place where they can actually come and fuel is sold at a cheap price. I was listening over the radio and they were naming countries where fuel is still sold below 100 naira, like 100 naira, countries like Algeria, countries, African countries. So it's possible. If we are the ones that have the crude, then why are we the ones suffering for it? Well, we're hoping that a time will come where we will no longer suffer. And with that, we'll call it a wrap on the newspaper review segment of the show this morning. Like I said before, the discussion is centered around the Ozoro Festival. All you need to know, all the issues bordering around that festival is what we'll be touching on the show this morning with Jude Aweke. So do well to stay tuned and drop your comments in the comment section.
From the ancient glory of the Great Benin Kingdom to the vibrant culture that defines the Edo people today,
BOS TV proudly presents The Pride of Edo,
a captivating cultural and lifestyle documentary series celebrating the history, traditions, food, music, and achievements of great Edo people across the world.
Journey with us through royal traditions, colorful festivals, breathtaking tourist destinations, and inspiring stories of Edo sons and daughters making global impacts.
Each week brings powerful documentaries, studio conversations, youth spotlights, and moments that celebrate the true spirit of Edo heritage. Don't miss The Pride of Edo, premiering March 30th, 2026, exclusively on VOS TV.
Celebrate the culture, honor the legacy, experience the pride of Edo. Only on VOS TV.
Are you planning an event, launching a brand, or looking for powerful media visibility? Welcome to VOS TV. VOS Global Media Limited, your trusted media powerhouse in Benin City. Located at number 82, First is Sekulu Road. We deliver top-class event coverage, live streaming, studio and outdoor photography, and professional videography that tells your story with clarity and creativity. Need sharp editing, catchy jingles, full program production? We've got you covered. From talk shows to entertainment, general news, advert placement, and even social media management, VOS TV gives your brand the spotlight it deserves. Clear visuals, professional sound, creative excellence. Call us today on 080-2254-7837 or 090-3710-3329. VOS TV, amplifying your voice to the world. From the ancient glory of the Great Benin Kingdom to the vibrant culture that defines the Edo people today,
BOS TV proudly presents The Pride of Edo,
a captivating cultural and lifestyle documentary series celebrating the history, traditions, food, music, and achievements of great Edo people across the world.
Journey with us through royal traditions, colorful festivals, breathtaking tourist destinations, and inspiring stories of Edo sons and daughters making global impacts.
Each week brings powerful documentaries, studio conversations, youth spotlights, and moments that celebrate the true spirit of Edo heritage. Don't miss the Pride of Edo, premiering March 30th, 2026, exclusively on VOS TV.
Celebrate the culture, honor the legacy, experience the pride of Edo. Only on VOS TV.
Aramudu, one of the four quarters of Ozoro, the host community of the Delta State University of Science and Technology, recently etched its name in the front pages of national dailies and making a topic of discourse in the society. What was meant to be a cultural celebration, a celebration of cultural heritage, turned a public discourse as innocent young minds were raped and sexually abused following a cultural celebration of its age-long festival. Alright, so the police in Delta State say scores are already cooling off in its nets in connection with the incident. What we must ask at this point is, when does culture itself cross the line into crazy? And when does celebration become a violation? And perhaps most importantly, we must ask the question, who draws the line and who enforces it? Because this is no longer about just a festival. It is about boundaries, accountability, and the heavy cost of silence when misconduct goes unchecked. This morning we'll be taking a look at the issue with our guest, Comrade Ro Riabo, a lobbyist and an activist in Benin City. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
We've seen what's played out in Delta State, Ozoro community specifically. How will you describe this?
What happened in Ozoro is an issue of concern to all of us, because it's an act of barbarism. We cannot continue to live as if we are animals. The conduct demonstrated by those in Ozoro is a clear indication that we have lost it as human. The humanity in us is gradually eroding. It's cascading. If we call for a deep, sober reflection, that the cultural festival will not turn to an opportunity for people to harass, to molest, and want to gang rape. It's an issue, a conduct that we have to condemn. At the highest level, we must condemn it. I see no reason why they should be celebrating a festival of rape. How do we get to that level? That in society we now embark on a festival of rape. What happened? Where are the custodians of the culture in that place? Where are the traditional rulers? Is it as a result of the failure of that institution? Because when I saw it, what came to my mind initially is that, well, maybe it was AI. That was my take. When I interrogated further, it was dawned on me that was what actually happened, that the Ozoro people embarked on a festival of rape. Yeah. I don't know what happened, how do Zuna arrive at festival of rape, to the extent that young girls were violated, their rights were violated, sexually molested, sexually harassed.
The President General of the community, in a press release, says that there was no festival of rape. It was a festival of fertility that is meant, to ensure that the women who are barren, married women who have not been able to give birth, so during the celebration of the festival, there is a kind of invocation and the play they do, that's a kind of play, they'll pack sand, poise on them, and from there, they will become fertile and become and bear children. So he's said further that the festival was hijacked by unscrupulous elements, and further interrogation indicated that even the custodian of culture in the community himself, the king of Ozoro community, is not in the picture that the festival was being celebrated. So how do you see all of this?
But that's the reason why some of us will call for total investigation. First, the traditional ruler cannot, I repeat, he cannot embark on that kind of voyage of I'm not aware. That I'm not aware mentality, you have to quickly jettison it.
He interrogated the chief priest and all of.
Of course, because as the custodian of the culture of the people, he is the first person that we kickstart the entire process. For him to be telling us that he's not aware is an indictment on his part. Maybe he does not know his responsibility as a traditional ruler. And Delta State government must immediately, if possible, he should be dethroned, be all suspended, because he does not know his responsibility as a traditional ruler. Who kickstart the entire process? We were told that this culture, this festival is a long festival they have been doing. At what point do they now veer off into gang raping, molesting and harassing the girl child? You know, these are some of the issues we need to be very bothered about. The traditional ruler must take responsibility. He should not exonerate himself, and he's not supposed to be exonerated. He's the first culprit, because he was the one who pronounced they have a festival before the boys. At what point do they hijack the festival? He's telling us that the festival is a festival of fertility. If of a true is festival of fertility, do they, after their prayer, after their incantation, do they immediately embark on the act? Because that is what, because maybe there was no proper orientation given to those youths. If there was a proper orientation, I see no reason why they should embark on mass and gang raping. You know, the traditional ruler must take responsibility. If he refuses to take responsibility, the governor of Delta State should, as a matter of urgency now, either he dethrone him or he suspend him for lack of accountability, for lack of transparency, and for lack of commitment. You have a responsibility. As a traditional ruler, you have a responsibility to protect people. It's not just a traditional ruler, it's also a big pay with taxpayers' money. I hope you are aware. Therefore, exactly. There's a responsibility attached to it. He cannot only just collect without also making a commitment. The Delta State government need to immediately suspend him.
So does their refutation of, the fact that the festival is being termed festival of rape, does it amount, for the fact that people were even sexually harassed, young people were sexually harassed, does it amount to justice?
Of course, those who were sexually harassed, they need justice. That is just the truth. And I'm happy that the witnesses have taken upon themselves. The female lawyers are also interested. All the activists in Nigeria have also taken interest in the matter. That we have to get to the root of the matter. One, at what point do they now move from festival of fertility to festival of rape? Because there's a tiny line. If you understand me more better, there's a tiny line. You are talking about fertility. Immediately after you do your incantation, do you also embark on the art? Maybe that is the thinking and the orientation of those of the youths. And that is a failure of the system. That is a traditional ruler.
Even in such an environment where you have
a higher
institution, a university.
That will tell you the damage that have happened in that community. Female students were molested openly. The girl child, some of them were harassed sexually. So we even gang rape. I am bothered about it because my daughter is a girl. My wife is a girl. My mother is a girl. Just imagine the kind of trauma they subjected those women to. You are doing a festival of fertility in Metamorphose into a festival of rape. There are pictures and videos to show of a truth that those guys were bizarre. Harassing any woman aside, any girl child within They just went out of control. They start harassing all the women. It's unacceptable. We are not animal. We cannot continue to live as if we are animal. Justice must be served accordingly.
The police has, nabbed some culprits in connection with this incident. What steps should be taken?
It's a welcome development. Police should arrest, do their investigation, and let them face the consequences. There must be consequence for action. Any society that does not have consequence for action can never embrace progression. Nigeria must demonstrate as a bit that kind of character. So that, one, the upcoming generation, they will not see it as a festival of rape. Even some persons in social media who were very loose in their communication, I saw some persons say, do they have festival of rape in Nosoro? That next some persons were saying they want to attend. Imagine that kind of orientation. You want to attend festival of rape? You want to partake in gang raping? No, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. They must be charged accordingly so that the justice will be well served.
Who should be blamed for this? We have
who should be blamed?
Key players that are supposed to.
Is the traditional head of Ozoro. The traditional head of Ozoro must take responsibility. We cannot. This is not. He is the representative of the government here. He is the custodian of the culture. He is in charge of the tradition. And anything that has to do with festival and festivity has to do with tradition and culture. You know this. Therefore, we don't need to go far to be looking for who to blame. The traditional ruler, the king of Ozoro community, must immediately take responsibility for his own irresponsibility. He did not manage his people well. He did not give the direct instruction on how they have been doing this. Is it the first time they are doing the festival? What happened?
Certainly no.
What happened?
And he said there was never such cases in time past. And it's the first time it's been misconstrued for such.
Now, I will show to you that there is a lacuna, a serious gap between the traditional ruler and the people. One, you don't just kickstart a cultural festival without the endorsement of the traditional head. It is the traditional head that will make that pronouncement, and before the people will now say, okay, this is the day and time. These are things that have some spiritual implication. If really it's a festival of fertility as we have been told now, all this is our spiritual dimension. And those who to kickstart it are the traditional ruler. Vis-a-vis those who have the responsibility and what to perform. Since there was no communication between the traditional ruler and the people, he should take responsibility. The government should suspend him. Not only president, if possible, he should be dethroned.
All right, so now let's talk more about, because we've seen all of the pictures of young people being stripped, dragged, and molested sexually. It's cause for concern. So, what does this incident itself? What does it say about the safety of women in public in the society today?
Women are gradually becoming very vulnerable in our society today. You know, I said it before that Nigeria, gradually we are now becoming, the human in us is gradually cascading. It's no longer there. The humanity in us as a people is no longer there. Nigeria is now gradually becoming a very violent place. It's one of those places that you don't want to live on because there is no human feeling again. What kind of a joy are you going to derive from harassing innocent women? You strip them naked in the name of festival? In animal kingdom, have you seen an animal behave in such a way? Are we barbarians? At what point? And that's the reason why the government must also take it to the next level. That tradition needs to immediately be suspended. If possible, be banned. Anything that had to do with the festival of fertility, they had to immediately place a ban on it so that the people will know that we are in a society that is governed by rule. We are in a society where laws need to be obeyed. You can't turn yourself to a demigod. Justice needs to prevail. We must seek for justice for any of those women who were gang raped. who were sexually harassed, who were sexually molested. We must speak out from them. We must condemn it. I have never seen that kind of wicked action. Devil in his own image cannot even exhibit that kind of that. Their conduct, what happened in Ozoro is satanic. It's wickedness. It's lucific. It's a terrible thing that have threatened the humanity in man. There is no love again. That you are harassing an innocent mother, harassing little children, harassing undergraduates. So many YC members every day were also harassed in the name of festival. Festival is supposed to be an opportunity for people to jojo. It's not for people to war. Festival is supposed for people to establish that conduct of conviviality at the highest peak, not otherwise. Therefore, the government of Delta State must place suspension in that kind of festival. The traditional rulers need to also be disciplined. The government need to suspend the, if possible, the truth. Because that kind of character, imagine the first time we are seeing Ozoro in international news, that they were celebrating a festival of rape. How do we get to this level? No humanity in us again. You are celebrating rape. No, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. All Nigerians of good conscience must condemn that act. We must also be calling for the immediate suspension of the traditional ruler of Ozoro.
This is a very sensitive case. It's a very sensitive matter. How should the public act responsibly when dealing with issues of this nature?
Now, even I heard there was not even proper communication within the Ozoro people. One, those who reside in Ozoro, especially now that they have a high institution, there are many strangers within that environment.
There has been a higher institution there, and it was changed to the Delta State.
Yes, there was no
science and technology.
There was no communication to the students, to the staffs. Foreigners that were there were not communicated to. Even the indigenous were not also communicated to. Therefore, as a society, we must condemn that kind of action. And it's also that further show to us that we also need to be vigilant in wherever we find ourselves. We must be very vigilant. As a girl child, as a female, as a young girl, you are a student or a graduate, you are a core member, you must be very vigilant. Nigeria is no longer safe. Nigeria does not show love again. We are now becoming a very violent nation like Afghanistan, like South Sudan. It's very unfortunate. It's sad that in 21st century people are celebrating festival of rape. In 21st century, it's very unfortunate.
Let's talk about culture and abuse. Does cultural practice justify any physical contacts and harassment?
No. No. There is no culture that endorses physical altercation, physical harassment. There is no culture. I'm a cultural icon. I know I'm a believer of tradition. I know what it takes. Anytime you are celebrating any festival, the people are always at that level of celebration. You see joy. You see people swimming in the ocean of happiness. That is what festival entails. Festival does not endanger your life. There is no cultural practices that endanger your life. I have not seen it. This is the first time in my life I'm hearing something called festival of rape. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how Satan have been able to introduce that kind of concept into the mind of the people. Whether we like it or not, it's a failure of our institutions. The traditional institutions have also just failed us in Ozoro. It is the tradition that fed the people of Ozoro. The young girl that was gang raped, it was the tradition and culture that fed her via the traditional head of that community.
Using this as a case, this scenario that I just played that as a case, do you think there is actually need for governments and other institutions to checkmate the traditions and belief of some societies?
Of course, this is where
there is need to foster a reoccurrence.
Of course,
and,
this is where Nigeria government need to step up the game. Any tradition, any culture that is repugnant to natural justice cannot be celebrated. We have a law, we have a constitution in this country. If you have any cultural belief that undermines another person's rights, that kind of culture don't need to be celebrated. We saw it very just in the north during this fasting period. That some persons will carry cake and say because you are eating, they will go and be flogging you. And the Nigerian government did not condemn that kind of action, even when we were condemning it. You are violating another person's rights. How? Because I did not join you to fast, I'm eating. These are spiritual things. You are working hard to enjoy your eternity. I am also working hard to enjoy what I'm enjoying today, whether physical. Therefore, why will you go violent against? And this is how we cultivate this kind of culture. And that is what just happened in Ozoro now. If the Nigerian government is not decisive, if Delta State government is not decisive with what happened in Ozoro, tomorrow another community will come out with another festival. They will say because it happened in Ozoro before, nothing happened. Let me also come with another festival.
We've seen the videos circulating online. Despite all of these videos circulating, the community is still maintaining its stance that there was no rape incident, there was no molestation and harassment. What does this say, concerning when issues of this nature are downplayed by community? What does this say?
The community cannot be a judge in their own case. They should allow the police to do their investigation. After the investigation, the police should come up with their finding. On the strength of that, we will now know whether if there was sexual harassment and molestation, if there was gang raping. It is the police that will establish that. It is not like on the community to be addressing the press. What do you expect them to say? They must defend themselves. Therefore, we don't want them. They can just remain mute. Allow the police to do their investigation. After that, we now know. If the police is coming out tomorrow to tell us that no, there was no gang raping, there was no sexual molestation, then it's better. We don't expect them. They should maintain a steady silence over the whole matter. Allow the police to do their job. Allow the government to take their decision on it. That is the only thing that can help them. It's not them coming out to defend themselves. How can they now be approbating and reprobating when the traditional ruler said that he was not aware of the celebration? At what point do they now know? Other which authority are they not talking to us? In that been issue, the traditional head that he was not aware of the festival. After that, we were not told there was festival of rape. At what point do they not realize that it was festival of fertility? Therefore, you know that's the reason why I expect them not to make any further clarification. They should bow their head in shame for now and allow the police to do their investigation. This is a failure. There is no value system. No value system. Our value system is gradually going down on a daily basis. Per second is going down. If we place value on ourselves, there's a lot of people who have not embarked on this kind of celebration. Because there is no love, no value, no care, then we just decided to even be living like an animal. Animals are even more better. I've never seen animals celebrating a rape festival. Have you seen it? Human beings in 21st century, a community in Delta called Ozoro celebrating festival of rape, and they are now telling us that that is not what happened. They should allow the police to do their investigation.
I want to ask you this. this is coming at a time, you know, where majority of those that have been nabbed so far by the police, majority of the suspected culprits that have been arrested so far by the police are young minds, some of them even teenagers, some of them just between 2018. What does this say concerning parental, you know,
2018
guidance and failure?
2018, you just mentioned adults. Those are not minor. Any decision taken by 18 years old man, 20 years old man, it's a decision we're taking. Therefore, you must take responsibility for it. You don't expect the level of parenting have got to that level where if they can manage you to that level of 17 and you are now 18, the Nigerian Constitution recognizes that you are an adult. That any decision you take as at that time, you are the one to take responsibility. Is binding on you. It was well planned. They cannot. Therefore, the issue of minor don't need to arise.
I'm not talking about issue of minor. Should we blame their parents for
No.
their children, you know, engaging in such acts of immorality?
We won't blame to me, I won't blame the parents. But generally, our Nigerian society, as of today, I will continue to let the world know that we are not doing well. And Africa will place more value on life. In a typical African society, we promote love. If you look at the pattern how we were building houses in Africa, we live that communal life. One person is not allowed to take care of his child. It's a communal child when you are growing up. But gradually now, since we are trying to embrace civilization, foreign culture is now gradually taking care of us, then that is why we are saying what we are saying. When we were upholding the African culture, we have fear in our mind. Love was there. Immediately we jettison it. That is what we are saying. The fabrics of the society have since collapsed. Was in Nigerian society today, things gradually they are falling apart. The central can no longer hold. That is where we are. It's not about parenting. It's not about bringing. It's about how we have planned ourselves over the years. Where are you going to find yourself in Nigeria now that you want to trust anybody? Can you go to religion? The answer is no. You go to culture and tradition? The answer is no. You go to government? The answer is no. We are not living as if we are animal. That is the conduct. And I expect all women to condemn the action, what happened in Ozoro. All men of good conscience, if you know you have any affiliation to a woman, and I believe, I'm convinced, that all men have affiliation to a woman. It's either you have a sister, or you have a mother, or you have a wife. We must stand up very tall to condemn, not just only condemn the action, to also prevail on Nigeria police to do a proper investigation, so that justice can be served, so that will serve as a deterrent. Those who are coming will know that those who did it before were back on gang rape festival. They are in the jail. Then nobody will want to go on. Those who are writing on social media, they will be there in the next festival of rape. They won't want to try it again.
All right, now let's talk about practicality. What practical action should be taken, you know, at this moment before future festivals are conducted, or rather ahead, so that we ensure that women are protected, women are not harassed? I'm not talking about Ozoro alone, because we still have other societies that are, you know, celebrating festivals, and we continue to celebrate festivals. So what practical action should we take at this point?
The action is very direct. We need to be very proactive. We must continue to tell our women, our girl child, we must continue to tell them that there are places you are not supposed to be at a given time. As a young woman, you are not supposed to keep late nights. You are not supposed to mingle with bad friends. Your parents, you are supposed to stand up among your parents. And they must all need to be very proactive. You understand me? And they must be involved in things that will progress. I wish those women within that locality, they were aware of the festival. They will have an ability to say, look, I will go at that day. Because there was no communication. That is the proactive nature I'm talking about. We need to be very proactive as a people. The women need to very, I see no reason why the women should be an endangered species in Africa, particularly in Nozoro, because of festival. Therefore, the way forward still remains. Delta State government need to immediately suspend that festival, suspend the traditional ruler if possible, deter the traditional rulers, arrest those, as the police is doing, do their proper investigation. Those that are far culpable should be charged to court so that justice will be served.
All right, sir. Succinctly, just before we go, because the time is fast spent now. So you tell us, what message should this incident send to young people in the society?
The young people must know that Nigeria is a country that is governed by rules. That anything you do that undermine the rules and the constitution of Nigeria, there are consequences.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Roy Oriabo, for your input on the program this morning. Just before we go, we've been taking a look at the alleged rape festival that's played at in Arumudu community, or rather quarters of Ozoro in Delta State. And let's quickly take a look at some of those that joined us. Want to recognize you and your contributions on the program just before we round off. All right, we see you here, Lights of the Word. Thank you very much for your input on the program. Lights of the Word is saying that a very appalling incident. I concur that the traditional ruler should take responsibility for what occurred and should be held accountable. Since this is not the first time this festival is holding in the said village, it might have been going on, just not at this space. All right, but that the traditional ruler held the boys from doing what they did. I'm not saying he does not have a part to play in terms of taking responsibility and fishing at the criminals, but he cannot be said to have been responsible for what the boys did. All right, thank you very much, Lights of the World. All right, Sunrise TV, was there no security officials around when this was happening? That's the question we're asking. It's quite unfortunate. Shouldn't suspension be given to these ones as well? All right, thank you very much, Lights of the World, for joining us on the program. All right, Joshua Oji, everyone who is involved in one way or the other should bear the consequences of their actions. Ibrahim is greeting us. Good morning. Good morning to you, Ibrahim. Thank you for joining us on the program. All right, we appreciate you. And that's where we round off the program this morning on Dawn VOS TV. You can use the comment section to share your thoughts on the topic of discourse if you are yet to do that. Join us same time tomorrow for another episode. Bye for now.